Welcome back to Check the Pulse. Today, as usual, I'm grateful and honored to have Mr. Nick Jongazma on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'm
Appreciate
excited
it.
to dive into this episode. Just quickly before we dive into my episode, shout out to the MBH boys because they just had Gary Vee on their podcast, which is massive. Nick's also really close friends with them. But so much love for them. Shout out to the boys. But now we're going to dive into us. So, Nick, for those that don't know you, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure.
You know, your journey, where you are now, where you started, and then we'll get into the conversation.
Sure. My name's Nick. I'm the owner and operator of Adzworld. We're a full-service ad agency. We specialize in radio, TV, billboards, social media, brand development. So pretty much your one-stop shop for everything. I've been doing this for well over 12 years. Kind of started in the radio space about 7+ years ago. And I was there and then transitioned into this. And I've been doing it since and loving it since as well. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So when you started in radio, before radio, did you study to go to school into radio and like broadcasting?
So funny enough, I wasn't supposed to go into this at all.
Okay.
I was supposed to be a chef.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, food has always been a passion for me. My
Yeah.
dad is a chef, so my whole high school career was going into culinary.
Mm-hmm.
Applied for culinary. My dad was like, you know what, I don't want you to do it. I'm like, why? Like, this has been my passion. He's like, oh, I don't think you're going to have time to spend with your family, and it's not what you think it is. Ended up applying because I wanted to go into pastry and kind of, more niche. Yeah. I was number 31 of 30 in the class. And then at the time I was DJing as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, radio seems pretty cool. Maybe I could be like an on-air DJ. I used to listen to Z103 all the time, like all the hosts and like live to airs. It was super cool. So I applied, ended up getting to college in Belleville. It's called Loyalist. Yeah. Accepted the offer. About a couple of days later, the offer that I accepted was Seneca because that was the school that I wanted to go to. Right. Ended up doing it. I was like, I'll do it for about a month and a half. Let's see if I like it. I ended up doing it for the full 2 years. I loved it. Wow. I fell in love with it. I wanted to be an on-air host at one point, and then kind of through my college career, my mentor at the time, who passed away a couple years ago, he was the one who kind of pushed me to go into sales. He's like, listen, if you want to make money in this industry, being on air, being in production, yeah, you can make money, but sales is kind of where you got to be in. Yep. I was the only person in the class who really went into that focus of sales. While I was in school, I got an internship at Z103. Ended up, shout out to Tony Monaco. He's the one who got me the internship. And then did that for about 2-3 months, killed it. They ended up hiring me part-time. I was getting paid while I was still in school. Yeah. And a lot of the kids in my class, they're actually being managed by me. So I was hiring all my friends to come and get the internship. So it was super cool.
That's sick.
I did that and kind of, like everything was like complete, like 180. I was trying to go into culinary, didn't end up working out. And then sales kind of, made sense. I was doing the whole internship, doing a lot of the events. Like I met pretty much anyone you can think of, from like Chris Brown to like The Weeknd to Tiesto to pretty much, and we'll get into that more. But we've met pretty much everyone you can think of. Shout out to the guys at Z103 for obviously like hooking it up. Yeah. And then did that for about 1.5 years. Realized that the money wasn't there, didn't make sense. So applied for a sales position. I had zero sales experience. I didn't know anything about sales. Right. I was like 18 years old. Had a meeting with my manager at the time. He's like, listen, why should I hire you? I tanked the interview. Like I did so bad. I was so nervous to a point where he's like, okay, you know what? You need to go and come back. Went back like 6-7 months later. He's like, listen, if we have a marketing seminar coming up, if you can sit down and guarantee X amount of people to come to the seminar, we can talk and obviously figure out if there's a position for you. Got ready the next morning, wore a suit, get to this meeting, nobody's wearing suits. Everyone's kind of like relaxed, like, they're wearing dress shirts, whatever. I'm like in like a full 3-piece suit, like thinking like this is the job. Like, I gotta like be the part. Ended up inviting a lot of people that I knew just over the course of the year of networking and just meeting people. In that first week, I closed close to $100,000 in sales. Wow. And I was like 19 years old, knew nothing about sales, just basically sold on relationships. And then my last meeting right before, and I remember it was a snowstorm. Yeah. We were on our way to one of the clients that I had. And the client said, literally, the only reason I'm signing this is because of Nick. I have no interest in advertising on Z103. It's just because of Nick. My manager pulls me out after. He's like, amazing. Do you think I should hire you? And kind of the rest was history. Yeah. I did that. I was at Z for about 5 years. Towards the last little bit that I was there, just came to a point where it just didn't make sense to stick around. We only had one power station, which was Z103. Right. Things were shifting. I kind of wanted to go into a completely different career. I wanted to go into real estate and like automotive. It didn't end up, I was kind of confused. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was still fairly young. Yeah. Ended up going on a vacation, came back, and that's kind of when Adzworld started. It was the birth of Adzworld. Yeah. We originally were just supposed to sell radio, and then as time went by, we started to incorporate the billboards and the social media and the websites and everything else, and kind of just blew it up from there. From the beginning, the whole goal was to sell anywhere in the world. It wasn't just to be focusing on Ontario, Canada, hence why the name's called Adzworld. Yeah. We do everything from A to Z. So that's kind of the way Adzworld was birthed. But yeah, we work with small clients to big clients. Been doing this for 7 years now with Adzworld, and it's been a journey. It's been fun. I wouldn't want to change it for anything else. I love what I do. That's kind of how we met with the boys as well.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, but yeah, it's been a great process since. But there's a lot of learning, obviously, being at Z103, and that's kind of what helped me over the course of the years into my own business. But I started with no sales experience to now been doing it for 12 years now.
I love that. And I think, you mentioned something really cool where you said at one point you were confused. And I think nowadays, like a lot of, you call students, 17, 18, whatever, they think they have to have their whole life figured out.
No.
And it's like, well, I'm not in this industry. I don't have this skill. And like, you're a prime example of, you didn't have the background of it. You kind of just went with it and learned you loved it. So it's like trying something new. What would you say, like, in that point where you were trying to figure things out and like what you wanted to get into next, was there anything that really kind of helped you figure that out?
It was kind of like figuring out, okay, you know what? I like the real estate side, but I wasn't really passionate about it.
Right.
And then the automotive stuff I'm super passionate about. I love cars.
Yeah.
I love automotive, anything that relates to that. But then I came to like, listen, I don't think like this chapter is done yet. I feel like I can do something cool. And at the time I had a client who had an agency. He was a little bit older. He was based out of the States, and I saw what he was doing, and I'm like, listen, I can do the same thing he's doing.
Yeah.
My level of customer service is better than his is.
Yeah.
And I just, I think I could service the clients much better with more to offer.
Yeah.
I think the biggest hurdle that I had, and kind of that's what was hindering me to start it, was at the time, a lot of the different vendors and the professionals in the industry wouldn't consider someone like myself an accredited agency, which in reality, there's no such thing as an accredited.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really make sense. But at the time, like, that was kind of what was scaring me. And I was obviously like early 20s, and I was still like, okay, you know what? I don't know, if I'm going to be able to do this, or people are going to want to work with me. And that's when my mentor, he's the one who kind of said, listen, whatever you need, I'll be fully behind you. You don't need an accreditation. I'll accredit you, like, to that extent. And that's kind of how it started. And then as time went by, and obviously what you show over the course of the years, that kind of shows people, like, listen, who this person is, and that becomes your accreditation, I guess.
For sure.
But I think that was kind of the biggest hurdle that I had at first. And then once I started doing it, everything kind of just fell into place. You obviously got to focus and put your full heart and mind into it. And that's, I think, one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give people is, if you're going to do something, don't half-ass it, go full in. Don't try to mix with 50 different things. Do it fully. And then obviously once you grow and things start to pick up, and let's say you want to diversify your portfolio of business, you can go into other things, but focus 100% into one thing.
Yeah, I agree. Because I think too many people try to be like, good at all things, and then they don't master one.
Exactly.
And it's mostly because, well, let's say I have an agency. So I start, if I'm good at running ads, okay, but I know I can make more money now if I offer 30 other things. But did you master ads yet? So now you're going to go offer all these services that you're good at, but not excellent at. So that, I
spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah, 100%.
If you don't have the bandwidth for it, and then it just comes down to that one thing that you were maybe a little bit better, it starts to lose itself as well, and it gets watered down. And that's what I think the biggest problem is, where too many people start to offer too many things. I used to do that as well. When I first started, it was like, okay, well, I want to do this. And then after a while, you start to get burnt out, and then you realize that the level of quality also comes down. So now I just say, listen, this is kind of where I'm comfortable with. And then you just kind of keep it a nice, tight sort of team, and a tight sort of operation. And I think that's the best way to kind of go about it. But again, like, it all depends on if you have the bandwidth to do it. If not, obviously,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I agree with that 100%. And then how important would you say, like, so when you got into this industry, obviously you've built a network also from Z103 and like having connections to all these people. How important is building that network when getting into entrepreneurship?
So at the time when I was getting into radio was still super up and coming.
Yeah.
Like, it was
like
still
the
busy.
thing.
Yeah, it was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, we had live to airs Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. Like, there were so many events. I think COVID was a big problem, obviously, that affected that. Radio's still there. Radio will forever be there. Yeah. It's the one thing that's free in your car. You're not paying for it. And this is something that was ingrained from my head from when we were in the sales department. Is like, the vinyl was around, tape came around, CDs came around. These are all the things that came and went. Radio's still there. So that was our selling factor. Shout out to Chris, who always used to put this in my head. And I used to think, I'm like, why am I here? But, it worked out, 10 years later.
Yeah.
But in terms of, so around that era was good because we had a lot of events. Networking was super easy. You'd be meeting people every single day. Yeah. We had events like 7 days a week, sometimes 2-3 times a day.
Wow.
And the cool thing was, when I was at Z, was we would like the actual like I guess the office and the studio was super close. It wasn't like offsite.
Yeah.
Like I could be sitting here in the sales department. You could see like the studio upstairs.
Oh,
So I
sick.
can see like Danny upstairs.
Yeah.
And when we had guests in, typically I would like make sure it was cool if I went by. So I remember Tiesto one time came in, and I'm like, hey, like to the owner, I'm like, hey Paul, like is it cool if I just pop by? He's like, yeah, for sure, come through. And like you go upstairs, like watching like Tiesto do a live set, and like, take pictures, you meet him.
Yeah.
I remember when Martin Garrix was first like blowing up.
Yeah.
Like Animals just came out. He came. He just flew in from the Netherlands. He's like 17, 18 years old. He's like, man, I'm thirsty. We didn't have any water, and I went and I got him like a Pepsi. And he's like, yeah, man, I got you. I owe you $2. I'm like, yeah. Till this day, he still hasn't paid. Martin Garrix, you owe me $2 with inflation.
With inflation.
With inflation.
And interest.
But yeah, it was super cool. You get to meet cool people. We always get first access to events, backstage. There was a lot of perks, and a lot of my friends were obviously able to get the perks as well.
For sure.
So they've been to concerts that they would have never imagined. Like we were going to festivals every summer. We were on stage at like Electric Elements in Wasaga Beach.
No way.
We were shooting T-shirt cannons.
Yeah.
We were doing the craziest things you could possibly think of, to a point where now if someone asks me, hey, let's go out, I'm not interested. Like I've done so much of it that it doesn't interest me. Like I've done the craziest stuff that you can even possibly think of.
Right.
And while you were doing all that, you're obviously meeting cool people and you're networking, and whether it's someone who owns a club, whether it's someone who's a promoter. And that was obviously something that I used to take seriously very much so back then. Yeah. I had business cards. I was, I think, one of the few sales reps that was going through business cards so often that they kept ordering me. Wow. I would give a business card to everyone.
Wow.
Anyone and everyone. There was a video we went to. I remember we went to some NFL like event, and my boys were making fun of me. They're like, "Oh, look here, is Nick gonna close this guy? He's giving out business cards." Fast forward all these years later, one of my closest friends, shout out to Faisal, he's the one who always used to say, "Nick, you're always giving out business cards to people." And now he's like, "Listen, the one thing I'll give you is your network is massive."
For sure.
And it's just because of the amount of cards I was giving out, and just people shaking hands, rubbing shoulders, just saying, "Hey, like, what's going on? This is what I do." And I remember a lot of my friends would be like, well, this guy's just a promoter. Like, what is he going to do for you? I'm like, listen, man, it's not about the fact that he's a promoter. In 10 years, he's going to be something else. Like, oh, I don't know. Like you got to think long-term, never short-term thinking.
Right.
And that's the one piece of advice I'd like to give everyone is think long-term. Don't ever think, what's right here. Think about, what's behind the table. Think about what's, behind the doors. And that's what I think is lacking with a lot of people when it comes to network building, is that they think, okay, I need to benefit from this right away.
Yeah.
First of all, to think the benefit is wrong. It shouldn't be that. So that's not what I go into it. I never want to have anyone thinking that, I'm trying to benefit from them. I always want to give them value before I expect anything in return. I will never ask for anything. I will always give to a point where, they want to also give back. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, what keeps me a little bit different from others is people automatically just want things right away. Mm-hmm. You can't expect it. And expectations is massive. Manage your expectations. You can't have expectations from others. Yep. So just because you gave a business card doesn't mean that person needs to work with you. Yep. So.
No, 100%. I think it's that, like, you just nailed networking to a T. Even people go to networking events, they're going with the expectation of, oh, I'm going to get business out of this. How about you just go with the expectation of, I'm going to build my network. You have nothing to lose by handing out your business card to every single person. Yeah. Even if one of those people calls you back out of the 30 cards you gave out, that's still a win. But it's hard to have that mindset. And I think, especially when you're younger, you're already doing something that most people maybe would not have been comfortable enough to do. Like, you're handing out business cards and your boys are ripping on you. Like, what's this guy doing, right? So clearly at that age, no one's really doing that. But you're not like, well, this guy's a promoter. You're like, well, in 10 years, what's he going to be? But even as you get older, like, someone can be something now that they may not be in 10 years. Like, your path can always change. And I tell that to a lot of people, even younger people that are going through university and just coming out. I'm like, whatever career path you get into now does not have to be your ride or die career path till you die. Like, you could change tomorrow. Like, no one's, holding a gun to your head with it. And I think it's cool even just to see that in your journey. Like, you really went from like food to broadcasting, radio, to like ads and like marketing. So you can see there's like 3 kind of different industries in a way, and you're still rocking it, but you probably didn't know that was going to happen when years ago, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the biggest piece of advice is don't think so short term. And I think everything's so transactional.
For sure.
Don't think transactional. Even as a selling point and like being someone who's in sales, when you're transactional, things don't end up going right. When people nobody wants to be sold. Right. When you're constantly trying to push people to sell or buy, like, it's not going to work. Right. And none of my clients ever feel like I'm selling them. I'm like, listen, these are your options. You want to buy it, buy it. You don't, I'm not going to twist your hand. Like, it's cool. Yeah. Because eventually you're going to want to do something, and that's when they want to come by. I've never been the pushy type, even when I used to work at Z, and this was maybe like a downfall that I had there, and maybe that's why I left. And it kind of everything worked out to what it needed to be.
For sure.
But I was never that pushy person. So I remember we had packages that we had to push out. And my manager's like, "Oh no, you need to push." Like, nobody likes to be sold. Yeah. Think about it. When people call you to sell you on duck,
no, hang up.
But if someone called to say, "Hey, like, how are you? Good? Like, what's going on?" You'd obviously be more, receptive to talk to them. And that's the thing. I think the biggest problem with sales, I think, is nobody really listens. Everyone's always talking. They're talking. They'd love to hear them talk. Yeah. They love to hear themselves talk. Stop talking. Yeah. Stop talking and just listen to what the client wants. Yeah. I need this. Okay, cool. Now go back, process that, and then spit something that makes sense and is actually going to help them. And I think that's a big lack.
For sure. And I think it's that ties into building connection. I literally just yesterday was watching a movie, and there was two people. One of them was like working a high corporate job. They were together. And then the other one was just trying to like sell a product. And they were with a really high value client. And one of them's obviously used to dealing high value. The other one is like trying to build their business up, looking for investment. So he goes in and he's just starting to pitch. And the high value client is like getting frustrated. Like he almost like, this guy's not listening to me. The other guy's like, just listen to him. Why don't you ask him questions? The guy's like, why do I have to ask? I'm trying to sell my product. He's like, no. Ask him questions. Watch how all of a sudden he's receptive. Guy comes back. Oh, like they were in his house. Oh, like what's your dog's name? All this stuff. All of a sudden the guy's listening. And it literally aligns with what you just said, where it's like, if you show people you actually give a shit, they'll feel that energy and be more receptive to what you have to say. But don't fake it. Like actually care. Yeah, 100%. I say everything is an energetic transaction. You can feel it from the first 5 seconds you meet someone. Are they slimy? Are they genuine? Do they care? Is this guy going to try to sell me something that's not worth what it is? Like, and I align with you. I was the same. Even when I worked at the bank before having my agency, like they'd be like, you need to push line of credits and credit cards. I would tell all my managers, morally, I'm not doing that. I'm not pushing shit onto people that they may not need. Yeah. And in turn, more people came back to me. They wanted to see me. They were like, I want to see her. She was honest with me. Like, it's literally just, and I think that gets so confusing. And that's why salespeople have that reputation of like, sleazy car salesman. And it's like, well, I wonder why you get that, Yeah. But anyway, so Adzworld. So do you now, like, you operate in Toronto, but you do global, right? Like globally. Even billboards, everything.
Yeah, we've done campaigns in the Middle East. We've done campaigns in the US. Wow. We're working on a couple campaigns in Asia. So anywhere that has a physical billboard, we can do it. Yeah. So
where's like the biggest billboard you've put an ad up for?
Biggest, there's a lot. We've done Times Square.
No shit.
Yeah, we did a Times Square campaign just recently, actually. Yeah. We've done all the Dundas Square boards you can think of. Yeah. We're actually launching something pretty soon. I haven't really mentioned this at all. You're probably the first person who's gonna know. We'll talk about it on the podcast too. We're doing aerial ads, so the banners that get pulled by the planes.
That's sick.
Yeah, so we're launching that soon. So if you're interested in having your brand up, we can definitely take care of you. So
that's so cool. Yeah. That honestly reminds me a lot of like being on vacation because you're on the beach and you just
Miami.
See like yeah. And like I've never seen that here unless I'm out of it. But that's crazy.
So we're launching that, which is going to be a new layer that we can add to kind of our portfolio of the services that we offer. And we work with tons of like hospitality, like restaurants. We do a lot of social media for restaurants as well. Yeah. And one of my closest best friends, he has a restaurant as well. We do his stuff. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, the Armenian one.
Yeah. So shout out to Seb. He's got one of the best, greatest foods I think in the city for Armenian food. So
I'm gonna tap into that and say I am half Armenian and I agree with that. I don't usually eat that food out unless it's my grandmother. But that restaurant, telling, shout out. Yeah. Unreal. Absolutely unreal.
No, his food's amazing.
Yeah.
He's someone that, funny enough, is anytime he'd have like a menu development or whatever, we'd always go by and I'm living my chef like wannabe career through him.
I love that.
He's doing great stuff with his brother. So
I love that.
It's good, but we work with tons of businesses, not just necessarily small businesses. We work with big corporate businesses as well. Yeah. We work with anyone and everyone.
Yeah. So you're not like niche down. You'll literally take on any client, any size.
Any client, any size. For the most part, any budget, depending on obviously what makes sense. Right. I won't sell someone on something if it just makes even like, let's say if someone has a budget of $1,000, if it doesn't make sense, I won't do it. Right. I don't care about the sale. Yeah. I care more about them spending money on something that actually works. And that goes back to obviously earlier, I won't sell something to someone if they don't need it. So
for sure.
But yeah, it's been a great journey. 12 years that I've been doing the space,
Yeah.
7 years plus for Adzworld, and the next kind of goals are to expand it into different markets and build a bigger team and all that, and build a bigger structure with the company. But yeah, it's been fun.
For sure. Just take over.
Yeah.
Well, I guess question, because you do billboards.
Yeah.
So how have you seen, like, or has there been a transition with like the effect and like the success of billboard advertising from when you started versus now? Because obviously social media has obviously grown as well. So like, what's your opinion on that?
So the way Adzworld started, it was supposed to just strictly be radio.
Okay.
The reason why I even did billboards, I had a client who was interested in a billboard.
Yeah.
So I went through that whole route, ended up selling it. It was a massive billboard. At the time, I wasn't really too well versed in contracts and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I made a mistake. And the client ended up purchasing it. He wanted to do an extension on the billboard to make like the artist's head pop out of the billboard.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you need permits and all this stuff. So I thought, okay, yeah, we can do it.
Yeah.
Ended up we weren't able to. He's like, well, I want to cancel, I want a refund. I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I refunded him.
Right.
And I went back to the vendor. I'm like, hey, like they don't want it. They're like, yeah, you can't cancel that. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, like it was a last minute campaign. Typically, you need at least 90 days to cancel.
Okay.
I'm like, shit, okay. I'm like, so like we can't do anything.
Yeah.
And mind you, this was like 3 months starting the business. That whole amount on the billboard was what I had in the bank account.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, like struggling, like, oh, I'm gonna make this work, like getting nervous.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, shit, maybe I shouldn't have left Z103. I'm like, this whole thing, like
Everything's just spiraling.
everything spiraled. So from then on, I kind of was like, okay, I want to put a better system in place. At the time, billboards weren't sexy.
Right.
Nobody really liked them.
Yeah.
Kind of came into play, started to do like these cool campaigns, and all of a sudden it starts to pick up. People start to like it. You get artists to come on board. You start putting partnerships into place. It now becomes the hot thing.
Right.
With the right creative. Creative is very important.
For sure.
And you can have the biggest billboard in the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, as long as the creative isn't, the creative is very important. It needs to be up to par with, what you're obviously promoting.
For sure.
And obviously breaking it down into, are we doing a billboard ad for sales or are we doing it for brand recognition? And
Right.
that's very important because most people just obviously constantly want sales, and you can't do sales right off the bat if you have no brand.
Right.
So that's one important thing. In terms of, how we got it to be poppin' was over the course of the years, we do cool campaigns.
Right.
We did stuff with like the Leafs, like, trying to get Leafs attention,
That's
the
so
Raptors
sick.
attention.
Yeah.
We gave out like 500 chicken sandwiches at Dundas Square one time just to like get the, a Toronto Maple Leaf to like sign on, or like a Raptors player. Over the course, it became really cool. And then from there on, it just became that, that new hub of cool things and pushing all the other medias away to now, okay, billboards are cool. Let's do more. So the industry kind of got a little bit of a revamp, and it kind of now is going more towards the digital side of things.
Right.
And that's kind of where I think the future is. A lot of the static ones that you see all over, like the traditional ones, are going to kind of be, X'd out, and everything's going to go that digital route and connecting with AI and all this stuff. So that's obviously, I think, the next, plans for out of home and billboards. So
For sure. Yeah. There's, even now at like Yonge and Dundas, it's more digital.
Yeah.
Like a few years ago, they did a whole revamp, and it's like all digital now.
And they're still
versus
revamping.
static.
Yeah, they're going to be like those ones that are all static. They're going to be gone soon. They're going to be digital as well.
Wow. So it's literally just gonna be like, it's like New York, Tokyo,
it's like a
whatever.
mini. Yeah, it's like a mini like Tokyo or like a mini like Times Square. So
Cool though. That's
they're
sick.
cool. Yeah, it's super
So
cool.
then, would you say that in comparison to like if someone right now is listening and is like, okay, so I want to advertise on social media, I'm gonna have my brand. Like, what would you say to them to show them the benefit of having a billboard, even if it's only up for a little bit?
So billboards, there's I guess 3 types of clients.
Yeah.
You get the branding ones, you get the sales ones, and then you get the hype ones.
Okay.
Hype ones are the ones that just want a picture for social media. It's just for optics.
Yeah.
They don't care how many times it runs. They're like, well, I just want it for one like slot. I'm like,
Yeah.
unfortunately, Canada, you can't sell it for the slot. In New York, you can. You can literally have it flash
Really?
one time in the hour, and that's it. Or you can have it flash one time for the whole day. So those are the 3 types of clients you have. Now, with any type of advertising, there's no way of actually gauging it.
Right.
You can say you got 1 million views, but what actually came from it?
What converted? Yeah.
Yeah. So even like from my radio days, when we would sell ads and people were like, well, how can you tell it worked?
Right.
Well, there's a few different ways you can figure it out. Well, first of all, your Google Analytics, did it have a spike? Your website analytics. Those are kind of the things that you can monitor. Were you getting these kind of same spikes last year, last month? What have you done differently? And that's, I guess, the best way to kind of, do the analytics and calculate, what's working, what's not.
Yeah.
But in the second to that part is, why are you running this campaign? Does it make sense to run this campaign? Yeah. Well, no, I want sales. If I do this billboard for one day at Dundas, I'm going to be busy for the next 6 years. No, it's not how it works. So you got to obviously educate the client and to explain to them how it works. Yeah. And from there, they got to make the decision, and you got to obviously guide them and educate them on what makes the most sense. But that's kind of, I think, the part that's lacking for a lot of clients is they see it, it's cool, it's shiny, it's like, wow, it's big, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. That makes that aligns though. And then how much does it roughly cost to get a billboard up?
It all depends on the area.
Ranges.
Yeah. So it ranges anywhere from, let's say, $1,800 to, let's say, 10 grand.
Wow. Like, so, depending
on. So you can get, let's say, Dundas Square as little as, let's say, $1,500 for the day.
Yeah. Or you do that big thing.
You can do a big one that's like 10 grand a day.
Yeah, yeah.
So it all depends. And there's obviously certain ones that I like more just because I've done them personally.
Right.
And I practice what I preach.
For sure.
I run billboards myself. It's not like I just sell them and I never run it. Like, I do billboards probably more than some of my own clients do.
Wow.
And like, I get creative. I think of like ideas and like, we'll do it. And it's stuff that works. And the stuff that I don't think normally will work is the one that does work. Like we're going to do an activation soon. Like we did one for my 6-year anniversary where we're handing out 500 roses at Dundas Square.
Cool.
And I had some friends that came and helped, and it was just like giving back to people. So we're actually planning on doing something soon with like cookies in the city. So working on something like that where we want to give out like 1,000 cookies in the city.
Let's say, why don't you try to partner with like, I don't know,
I'm working on it,
or something.
Yeah.
I'm working actually with one of my buddies. His wife, she just started a cookie trailer.
I love that.
And yeah, she's got like the best cookies, honestly, I think, in the city. So I'm working on something with her.
Okay, that's sick. Yeah, okay, so when that happens, I'll come down and get a cookie.
For sure, yeah, 100%. So we want to do something like that for the city and just giving back. It doesn't necessarily have to always be like advertising. It just be like, listen, like this is who we are. I want to give back. I'm very heavy in believing that you have to give back. Like all this stuff wouldn't exist if it wasn't for giving back, and just, you have to be generally a good person deep down. Yeah. And it goes back to the energies we were talking about earlier about energy. It's just, you can sense when someone's just like, has good intentions and just good vibes. So
for sure. And it's like, I always believe what you put out comes back to you tenfold. Doesn't mean you fake it to put it out.
100%.
Like, it's like we said, intention, or I say where intention goes, energy flows. And that's literally it. You have good intention, energy will flow well to you. Yeah. You have shit intention, you'll face your karma at some point.
You can have good intention, but do it in a malicious way.
100%, yeah.
I'm giving this person $100, I'm expecting 10 grand back. That's not how it works.
And in a month you don't make 10 grand. You're like, oh, I'm never giving anything away again.
Exactly. Like, so you got to generally want to help other people. And that's kind of, that's since I was young, I used to always do it. And that's kind of something that's been engraved in my head. And just who we are.
That's what I was going to ask you. So like you're very big on like giving back and like supporting others. When did that start? From your childhood, from your parents, or something you grew into?
That's kind of just like morals of the family. Like that's just kind of how we were. Coming from like immigrant family, like both my parents, they're from Iran. Yeah. It's just always like we had neighbors. When I remember we were younger here, and extra food, give it to them. Or you see someone who's homeless, just give it to them. Oh, this person doesn't have, okay, give it to them. That's just kind of always how we were, just always helping people. Yeah. And that's just kind of like, Middle Easterns, just how we are. Like, we're always just giving. Yeah. And that's just kind of how it was brought up. And then just, over the course of the years, you just always want to give. I see clients, you want to give something. You see someone in the street, if someone's struggling. Yeah. I remember we were at dinner one time and with a client, and halfway through the conversation, I literally cut him off because I saw someone asking for food. I went and bought him a sandwich, and I went and gave him a sandwich. Yeah, my client was like, I don't understand why. I'm like, listen, man, like the guy, like no one, my biggest thing is no one should not be able to eat. Like we should all be able to eat.
I agree.
And especially coming from someone who loves food.
Yeah.
No one should be on an empty stomach. Mm-hmm. And that's what I see it as. And I don't care if I'm eating, if I have something and someone's not, I'll give it to them. I have no problem. Yeah. So, and that's something my friends will always say, like, you'll give off the shirt off your back to someone else. And that's kind of just how it is. And I don't do it to get, hype or clout or awareness from others. It's just, it makes me feel good. I generally get a high from it. Yeah. And that's why I do it. And I just generally want to help people out. So that's kind of, how I've always been. And
I love that. Yeah. No, I'm aligned with that. Yeah. And I always say, like, people that don't understand it, if you just try it, give back in some way, shape, or form, you can't even control the happiness you feel inside. It just comes.
That feeling is the greatest feeling.
Oh my God, it's literally unmatched. Like it's absolutely unmatched. I don't care what you do, how much money you make. The moment you give back to somebody and you see the smile on their face or their reaction towards you or the gratitude that they give towards you, like you'll walk away just smiling and you won't even know why,
True.
It's like,
you get like the goosebumps from it. Like you get like you're on like a different kind of high.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain. So if you're listening to this and you've never done it, go do it. And I'm telling you, it'll be the greatest day of your life.
Yeah, 100%. And I always tell people, like, it doesn't always have to be this grand gesture. You know, you don't have to go give money if you don't have money. It could be, you know, a rose, a cookie, like you were saying. It could be, you know, someone needs a ride. Order them an Uber or get them a ride. Like, I don't know. There's so many ways it could be done. And I feel like people overcomplicate something that's actually very simple.
Yeah. It could be as small as a compliment.
Yeah.
Just be like, smile. And I started like a whole series on my Instagram
Yeah,
recently.
it's so sick.
Yeah, because I was talking to Ernesto for a long time. He said, bro, you need to post more. You need to post more. I'm like, man, I'm just so busy. Like, I don't have time. So I started a series where I'm like, okay, you know what? It's called Trunk Talks, where I'll literally think of like a quote or I'll think of something and I'll type it out. I'll print it. I'll literally like crumple it up. I'll put it in the trunk. I'll open the trunk. I'll grab it. I'll show it. And it'll be something so small. And it's something that people are like loving more and more. I obviously have to post more.
Yeah.
But it's something small and it's something that I can do and I can squeeze in the time. But something as small as like smile, it's free.
Yeah.
People are like, wow, like that's such like a strong statement. It's like, yeah, give someone a compliment.
Yep.
Say, I love your smile, or like, oh my God, I love your shoes. Like, you have no idea what the other person's going through. Yeah. I think that's one thing that we need to keep in mind is, let's say if someone acts a certain way or, you know, they don't say thank you. Well, why are you getting so upset? You don't know what that person could have gone through a death. He's maybe depressed. Maybe he's lonely. You don't know any of these things. Yeah. And I think that's the judgment of you're always judging others when in reality, it's like, you never know what that person's going through. Yeah. So something so small can make it go so far away and so long for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, 100%. Even something as simple as like walking by someone on the street and you just smiling at them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like in Toronto, not to stereotype, but everyone just seems miserable when they're walking around. And like, that could be so many factors. It can be personal factors, it could be
stress,
our weather, or this or that. It doesn't matter. But it's like, so you're used to almost when you live here, you're going to walk by someone, they're going to give you some cut eye or whatever. And it's like, but if you look, it's so bad that like, if someone actually smiles at me, I'll be like,
what's wrong with
oh,
them?
Yeah. Like, what did I do? Or why are they smiling at me? Like,
are they like laughing at me? Like,
that's so sad.
Yeah.
That is such a sad mindset to have. Yeah. And like, you go to other parts of the world, like even in Europe, they're so happy to be alive. Like, oh my gosh.
They'll give you the shirt off the back.
Literally, they could have nothing. They'll be like, come into my home, and it's this like little shack in a corner, and they will be the proudest people.
Let me make you a coffee. Let me make you
Let me carry your bags.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And it's like here, it's like you open the door for someone, and it's like.
It just, that still blows my mind. I'll do that, like if someone's older or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I don't need the thank you. I did it from my intention. But at the same time, it's like,
you're welcome.
Yeah. I'm like, no problem. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And I think it's like, but even just to tie into that, like that mindset of like, you know, in Europe, they really appreciate and value their life for what it is. Whereas here, I feel like no one wants anyone else to win. They just want themselves to win. If someone's in the same industry as me, well, now they're automatically my competitor. You know, if I don't know, like there's so many situations where no one wants you to win. They want themselves to win. And it's such a selfish mindset, you know?
That's why when people are like, oh, who are your competitors? I don't have competitors.
Yeah.
There's enough food on the table for everyone to eat. The reason why Ernesto and those guys, we even connected was because we had the same mentality. Yeah. Yeah, we're in kind of the same space. Like we kind of will go across the same clients. But if I see a client that they're working on and, you know, I have an opportunity, I'll reach out to them. Hey, guys, like this, like what's going on? Oh, yeah, we're working on this. Okay, cool, man. It's all you. Yeah. Or like, hey, man, like I got this client. It conflicts with me. Okay, no problem. Like we'll work together. Yeah. And like we have the resources to work together. And that's somewhere it's like, oh, well, how you guys going to work together? It's like they're competitor. Like, no, they're not. Like at all. Yeah. They're here to, if anything, help us. We help each other out. Yeah. And that's just small mindset of people thinking, oh, hey, like, you know, this is my competitor. Or like, you know, oh, they're going to take advantage. Or no. You just got to be able to, you know, work with others. So
yeah, for sure. But again, short term versus long term thinking.
That's it. It all connects. Everything connects.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It's even Nick Jongazma. He always says like a rising tide lifts all ships. Ever since I heard that saying from him, now it's always in my head. Yeah. And it's true. You collaborate with people. People be willing to help you. People that are like minded. You know, same views, same morals, same values. All of a sudden now you're all succeeding. Yeah. When you can only do so much individually versus doing things in a team. And a team doesn't necessarily have to be your team. It could be just working with others in your space.
True.
But so, okay, who is the coolest person you've met working as Z103? Coolest. To you. It doesn't have to be like to society, but like that to you was like, holy shit, I just met this guy.
That's a good question. There's been a lot. like I'll list them, and then like it became so normal that
True.
it was kind of like desensitizing a little
Yeah,
bit.
fair.
But I've met Tiesto, I've met Martin Garrix, I've met Chris Brown, I've met um, like all the like EDM DJs you can think of.
Yeah.
I've met basketball players, Leafs players, all the Latin artists. Like
Yeah.
when J Balvin was just popping off, I met him.
No
Nicky
way.
Jam,
Yeah.
Daddy Yankee, Sean Paul. I have like a picture with him. Like we were literally in the same studio together.
That's so sick.
Yeah, like there's a lot. We've met a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were all cool experiences. Like these
Yeah.
are like people that I used to listen to.
Right,
you know?
of course. And
I
now
think
they're
one,
like
one of
they're-
the coolest ones, and he's not even like a celebrity, but he's an on-air host, Hammer. One of my
TK, yeah.
closest friends.
Icon.
But I used to listen to him on the radio. I used to listen to him on all the live tears, and then now it's like, well, we're in the car together, and it's like, shit, man, like I used to listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like he's the guy.
Yeah.
And like he's sitting next to me, and it's like, yeah, like I've known you for all these years, but it's kind of cool, like how everything kind of worked full circle. I used to listen to him on the radio, like live tears with Monaco, and now like we're hanging out, we're having dinner together.
That's so
So
sick.
that would I think would be the coolest one out of like all of them, because the rest it's like, yeah, like you meet them, but you don't have a relationship with them.
Right.
These guys actually have a like really good relationship with, so we
Yeah.
still talk. Like we talk all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that would probably be one of the coolest ones. Yeah.
That's so cool because even those guys in general, like even just as a kid, you're always hearing them, whatever. So I went to the gala for Spark at the end of the year last year, and they had a table.
Yeah.
And at one point, I guess they were taking a video, and they were sitting on the other side of the hall, and they all yelled. And I was like, "Who's this table?" I look, and it's all of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Holy shit, that's the Z103 guys!" And you kind of have this moment of like, "Wait, they are just normal people. Like they're literally just here." But that station, if for some reason like you're listening to this and you're not from here, like that's one of the biggest stations in radio here. And it's like you hear their voices, you know their voices, like they're so pivotal to the city.
100%.
So like that's actually really cool. That's really, really cool.
Like Danny D, I remember one time we booked him.
DJ Danny
Yeah.
D.
We booked him for like an event, and I was like, wow, like I just booked Danny D, the guy that I used to look up to.
Yeah.
You know, and now all of a sudden, like I'm booking him. So it's a lot of cool perks.
Yeah.
And they're all super cool, like super down to earth. None of them are ever cocky, like, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're radio announcers. Like, you know, people think, oh, like, you know,
Yeah.
the coolest people.
So sick.
Cool, yeah.
What's the biggest lesson you learned working there?
Never burn a bridge.
Okay.
I think that was the biggest thing is a lot of people would come and kind of go. I kept that relationship going. I'm still very close with them. And I think the business model they had was a great business model. They were an independent radio station.
Right.
They weren't like owned by the Bells and the Rogers of the world. But for what they had and what they did, they're very family oriented. Everything was very family oriented now more than ever. And they taught us a lot of lessons. A lot of the things that we learned was from there. And they made it just a fun experience. And
For sure.
yeah, I think
That's cool.
Yeah,
So like now a lot of what you learned there, do you translate into like your
All the time.
team, your business?
all the time.
What's one thing you'd say like for sure when you left, you're like, okay, when I have a team one day, I'm gonna do this.
I think just like pitching and like presentations. I think that was one of the things that I used to sleep on back then, and I hated doing it. Now it's something that has just kind of become like, and a lot of the models that they had, I've kind of tweaked and made it work now. But I think that was kind of one of the biggest things was like just like the systems they had in place.
Yeah.
The systems that they had were just they worked. They might be a little bit older, but it just makes sense and it works. And I still use some of their systems and like some of the techniques that they had on closing things and all that. And you learn that and you kind of just adapt your own way. But yeah, like it's something that will always forever be with me. And a lot of it was from my mentor as well. He was the one who I remember he gave me a handbook on like sales 101.
Yeah.
And this thing was from like the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah. And like I still have it. I still look
So
at it sometimes.
sick.
But yeah, there's like a lot of cool things because sales is at the end of the day, it's like the same thing. You can't reinvent the wheel of
No,
sales.
100%.
So you can tweak it, you can add things to it, but that core fundamental of it is still the same from like hundreds of years ago. So
Yeah. So your mentor, because you brought him up a few times, how did you meet?
he was my professor.
No way.
Yeah. So Jim
Wow.
Craig,
God bless.
he was my professor. He was in the radio industry for years. And he used to teach us a bunch of classes. And at one point, and he used to always make fun of my last name. He used to call me Nick Orgasmic and like stuff. He was like a funny guy. He was super fun.
Chill.
And I'm like, listen, Jim, like, I don't know what I want to do. He's like, do you want to go on air? Do you want to do this? He's like, listen, try sales. So I took the first sales class. I ended up doing so well. I got like 99% of the class. Wow. And then he's like, okay, well, we have an advanced sales class. Take that class. I'm like, okay. And there was like 5 people in the class. And in the course of, I think in the past like 10, 15 years, there's only been 2 students that actually have graduated and went into sales. It was me and there's one other girl who now works at a radio station. Nobody else kind of went into sales. Everyone wanted to go into on-air, production, like copyright, all that. And that's what he loved. And he kind of, put me under his wing, and he just, anything that I needed. I used to go into like the school every single year, 2-3 times, just to speak to kids. And he was like 100% behind me. He would talk about me so highly. It's like, man, like I'm just a regular guy.
Yeah.
He was a gem, and we lost him a couple years ago to cancer, but he's honestly one of the greatest people. And he was like a grandpa to me as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just a great guy. He used to always take care of me in any way if I had any questions or any guidance or whatever. But he was in every single position in radio you can think of. He was doing it. He used to do a lot of consulting, and he did what I'm doing now years ago. So for him, it was a sense of joy seeing that I finally did this, and kind of just saw me over the years, and it was just a cool guy. Yeah,
For
he taught
sure.
me a lot, and he was someone that I used to look up to a lot, and go for guidance and whatnot. But it was good while it lasted. But yeah, I know he's still looking down, and
100%.
he's still guiding me in some sort of way. But yeah, that's good.
He left his mark in you,
Yeah,
you
he
always
did.
have that angel over
He
you
did,
now, and
yeah.
he believed in you. And it's like, I always say one person can change your whole view on life about yourself.
Yeah.
And it could be anybody, a professor, a partner, a parent. It doesn't matter, a friend. Like literally, it could be a stranger you just meet that says one thing to you that you're like, wow, like they see that potential in me. Like I got it, And it's cool because you were able to still go back to him and build that relationship with him. So
And I try to pass that off to like, if I
100%.
meet someone who's a little younger and I can guide them in the right way, I'll try
Yeah.
to guide them. And I think that's my sort of way of connecting with him still, because I think, somehow our paths are going to align in some sort of way. But yeah, like anything that I know or anything that I've learned, I'll try to pass that off to like a younger generation or someone who needs help, or it doesn't necessarily need to be in the same space, any sort of business, any sort of, guidance that I can give. I'll, and try to pass it off as best as I can. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then I would say, because you had mentioned like your parents both came here, so you have immigrant parents, and I feel like honestly, like a lot of us in Canada do. Yeah. How was that navigating, like, going through school, trying to figure things out, but like they just came here, they're working hard to like give you a living. Like, how was that guidance? Like, did you find a lot of guidance from them, or was it like through this professor once you met him? Like, what was that like?
So my parents immigrated in the 80s.
Okay.
So it was like a while back. Like,
Yeah.
So for them, their biggest thing was they wanted me to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Right.
Typical Middle Eastern
Yeah.
parents. You got to do something like, high caliber, make sure you're set, taking care of all that stuff. For me, none of that was ever of interest. Like, I wanted to be a judge when I was younger, just because like it seemed like it was cool.
Yeah.
I guess I had a little bit of like I wanted to be a police officer when I was like 1 or 2. I don't know.
You want to be in law.
Yeah. Funny enough, my sister is. So
sick.
Yeah. So it worked out in some sort of way. But and then the culinary was super cool because I used to always be on Food Network watching like cooking shows, and like I love to cook, and like I was in the kitchen. I was eating solid food at such a young age. Like my dad used to own a restaurant because I was originally born in Vancouver.
Yeah.
He used to own a restaurant in Vancouver. I'd be in the kitchen, like literally just watching. So that was something I was always around. And for them, there was like, okay, well that's cool, but we want you to do better things. And I didn't end up going in that route. So for them, I guess being on the radio wasn't like something they were kind of familiar with.
Right.
They're like, oh, like you want to be like an anchor? I'm like, no, not really. Like, so for them it was kind of new. Even like the DJing stuff was kind of a little bit new for them, but they weren't fully like on board with it. Later on, they obviously were, but like my dad still thinks like, oh, like DJing, like what's that? Like,
Yeah.
Even though he's been here forever, like he went to clubs, he's partied, so
Yeah,
he knows.
he gets it.
But he's just like, why? Like, like, why don't you just be like a saxophonist or like a musician? It's like, it's like,
Nah.
So now they support it, obviously, because I've had a business, but
Sure.
for X amount of years. But for them, the biggest thing was they wanted me to go into a role like that.
Yeah.
And it's, I guess, that immigrant scarcity mentality of
For
like,
sure.
okay, you know what? We don't want the kids to struggle. We want them to, be set. But nowadays, a lot of people, sure, are studying that, but they're not actually doing that.
Yeah.
So, like, I have friends who went to school for law school and they just opened up like a pizzeria.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, like I want to open a pizzeria.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
so
Get me in.
it's I think like times have changed, and a lot of, I guess, the businesses that had this like posh label behind them of like, oh wow, like I'm a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, has kind of like dropped a little bit, and everyone's kind of come down on the playing field. Like I was just with a client earlier, and he's like, yeah, like pizzerias back then were looked up, like down upon.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden in Italy, it's like, you want a pizzeria? Wow, you're the guy.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think like, before restaurant owners weren't looked at like anything crazy. Now all of a sudden you want a restaurant, you're the guy, you're like the top chef, you're this, you're that. So a lot of things have evolved over the years, and I think that's what's cool about what's going on. But yeah, my parents were kind of, that's kind of their mentality. They're still in that mentality.
Yeah.
That's just,
That's also their upbringing and like how
Yeah.
they were raised too, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they all do it because they don't want us to suffer. Of
course.
It just comes from love, but
They struggled enough that they don't want
Correct.
to pass that on to us. And obviously a lot of us, we don't understand that and we want to struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
So we end up struggling and then we end up passing that on to, the next generation. So
Yeah, no, and I agree too with what you said. Like, I know so many people that studied these complex degrees and they're not even close to doing what the degree was. No. And it's like, it's true even when it comes to, doctors, lawyers, accountants, the typical, well, I still go, well, you're a lawyer, whatever. But now it's like, oh, you're an entrepreneur. What business do you own? Oh, you have a restaurant. Oh, you do that. Like, everything now has, I think, gained more respect. And people understand now that there's money to be made in many other industries versus just those top, 4 or 5. And I think a lot more people, honestly, since even COVID, started to believe in themselves more than a corporate structure because a lot of work shut down. So what did you do? You have to believe in yourself, maybe start a company. Everyone I knew started starting companies with talents I didn't even know they had. Like, people were knitting, cookies. I don't know. Like, everything came out of nowhere. And it was just so nice to see. Because I'm like, wow, people don't feel caged right now. Like, they feel like they can express themselves. Obviously, it was kind of out of scarcity to make money, but it allowed them to tap into them and really have this realization of like, well, I could do this, So I think that's a beautiful thing.
yeah, no, for sure.
And for you, next 5 to 10 years, what's your goal?
I definitely want to open up like a takeout spot.
Okay.
Like a pizzeria in specific.
Yeah.
I don't know where, when, or somehow get into coffee.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the 2 things that I really love. Adzworld, in terms of Adzworld, is to kind of expand it and keep going. Just pushing it to new heights, especially with what's going on with AI and,
For sure.
Everything going digital. That's kind of the next plan. But yeah, just keep it kind of, full steam ahead, build a team and just do cool things and just provide results for clients and just have fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. So when I see the planes flying now, that's you.
Yeah,
Does
that's
anyone
me.
do that here?
No.
That's so fun. That's so sick. That's so sick. And then my last question I ask all my guests. What's one piece of advice you'd give your 16-year-old self?
Ooh.
It's a stumper. I know.
16-year-old me.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that are around you from 16 to like 25, 26, they're not going to be around. Your friend group is going to change. And that's okay. And whatever you decide to do, don't listen to others. Just stick to yourself and do it. Doesn't matter if it's friends, parents, family, whoever it is. If they say, oh, don't do it, or they're against it, if it's something that you're passionate about and you believe in it, put your heart and soul into it and kind of full steam ahead. And what's meant to happen for you will happen. And just have good intentions. I think that's the biggest piece of advice. But all that, if you put them all together, I think that's the recipe for success. And yeah.
I like that. I love asking people that question just to hear what everyone has to say, right? Because normally you say it based off your life and like what you've been through. So
yeah, 16-year-old me and now is much different. Before I thought, oh, you know what, I was going to be married at this age, or do this or do that, or I was going to have this car. And it's like, life happens and things don't necessarily. There's no timeline on things.
No,
you can have something now and you can have something in 10 years and didn't expect it to be in 10 years. So
yep.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest piece of advice. Yeah,
I love that. I align with that. Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you made it this far and you're still watching, give him a follow, shoot him a message. He's a great guy. And honestly, his trunk talk videos are actually really, really cool. And they hit when you watch them. Like, subscribe, share. I'm going to put his social handles in all the bios. And one more time, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And see you guys on the next episode.